Okay, thank you very much. Looks good here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Cobb, Commissioner Pickens,
Here.
Commissioner Prince,
Here.
Commissioner Wicks, Commissioner Wright, here, Vice Chair Jiggett, here, Chair Galani.
Here. The minutes for the commission meeting was passed out a while ago. Is that right, Kelly? Minutes?
Yes.
Minutes, yeah. So I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes as is.
Second? Second?
Second.
So good, thank you, Stephanie. Any discussion, changes? Good, deletes?
Commissioner Pickens,
Here.
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jiggett,
Since I wasn't at the last meeting.
Chair Galani.
Yes, thank you.
Just,
The young lady there.
just for the minutes, you don't have,
I don't,
you don't have to abstain.
no, I understand that, but I always do.
Continue the discussion. Oh, Melissa, yeah, you're up.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
I just want to give a brief overview of the strategic plan process for our new commissioner and new employees. We received a grant sometime last year from Virginia Housing to develop our strategic plan, and we consulted with the Spark Mill Group to provide that for us. We've been meeting since January, February timeframe. Is that right, Lindsay?
Yep.
To the plan, and so we work with staff, our stakeholders, the Board of Commissioners as well, to help us develop this plan, a blueprint for the next few years. So Lindsay's gonna give a summary of her findings and the plan, and then we'll have you adopt the resolution for this person, okay?
Okay.
Good seeing you again, thank you.
Yeah, it's nice seeing you as well. We went through the preliminary findings when we met during our retreat a couple of months ago. So I'm not going to go over that, but I want to just briefly review the plan. It should not be a big surprise to any of you who were able to join us for the retreat. It is exactly what came from our time with you and also from the time that we spent with the staff on what the next step should look like and what does the strategic future look like. And I know that it was very, very important for you all as the Board of Commissioners to be involved at the high strategy level, let the staff take on the tactical level. That was something that we talked a lot about at the retreat. So you will see all of that represented on here, but the Board of Commissioners really helped on those top level goal level. That's what we talked about at the retreat. So the first goal is around granting public housing residents housing choice through the repositioning of development into vouchers. This is the work that you're already doing. This is the work that you said is happening. You know what's going through, but there's still a lot of work to be done throughout the next 3 years and possibly longer. So this really solidifies what you already are working on and continues that work because we know that that's very, very important to you all. Goal number 2 is to enable residents to achieve self-sufficiency through the Move to Work program. Also very important. You guys brought up that Move to Work is the thing that you are working on right now, that it is very important. It is key. It is already in movement. We know that you all are leading Virginia in a lot of ways on actually adopting and taking on this program. So that is going to be an incredible amount of work that you will be focusing deeply on for the next 3 years. The next one is going to be around really thinking about the whole community. One thing that came up quite a bit in our time with you as the Board of Commissioners and also with the staff and through the stakeholder interviews was around the increased violence that was happening in Portsmouth and has continued to increase. And so this is talking about how to engage the whole community as a way to really be able to contribute to working through what that looks like and the ways that it impacts your residents and the work that you do. Goal 4 comes directly from you all, the commissioners, around expanding services for youth living in CRHA communities. That came up a lot. We spoke a lot about it. That was something that was very, very important to you. And so we worked with the staff on ways that we will be able to meet some of those needs while also really balancing the fact that, there is not a ton of funding or a lot of wiggle room in this area, but knowing that it is really important and trying to work through that as best that we can and incorporate it into the other ways that we do the work is very important. And I don't think that anyone disagrees with that. It's just figuring out how to be able to make sure that it goes forward. And I know that you all have some really good ideas and already some things in action to be thinking about for that. And goal 5 is around all the internal stuff, which you all made very clear that you felt like was not your place, that was something that the staff and the leadership team was taking really good care of. But those are the things that are important for them to be thinking through, and they've agreed are important as well. So when we left the retreat, you all said that the things that were really very most important to include in this were keep on doing the work around vouchers and repositioning. That's the work that you're doing. Move to work is moving and rolling, and it's going to be very important. You've already committed to that. You're already making that happen. Making sure that your relationship with the city and trying to figure out ways to be able to work with the city at a higher level, knowing the challenges that can bring, is really high and integral to being able to move forward, because you cannot do this work alone. There's no way that you as an agency can do this work alone without the service of the city. And then the youth piece, which came up as quite important to you. So I am guessing that there are not too many surprises in this, but I don't know, when you read it, something might have been shocking to you. So I am happy to answer any questions that you have, or also for any comments that you might have about the plan that's in front of you.
Ms. Winston, I had a hard time hearing the 5 specific goals that she had. ATW I got was the second one.
Right, so I can read them if you like.
Yes, ma'am, please.
So goal number 1, grant public housing residents housing choices through the reposition of development into vouchers. Enable residents, and this is goal 2, enable residents to achieve self-sufficiency through the Move to Work program. It should be in your book.
That's for the tax.
Tab it.
Minimum time.
Tab 9.
Thank you very much. I did.
You did? Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
Did you want me to continue?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Sorry. One down, be the directions, huh?
So we think we have developed a holistic plan, strategic plan for the authority. We engage with the Portsmouth Public Schools, the police department, superintendent, social services, our landlords, and development partners. So I think you will find that this is a comprehensive plan and a blueprint that we can follow for the next few years.
I know we spent a good 3-4 hours there with Sparkville, over there, the gather place. So that was good, and we all, I think it was a very good meeting for us. As we said, I think, in my opinion, these embrace all those things that we had talked about and we wanted. And while they're not necessarily prioritized, they do represent the 5 goals that we have. So any other discussions? This one's
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So with these strategic plans, we have goals already set in place. So will we be broken down into groups to set these goals or make them happen? Or is this something that the sales company or you guys?
We will. Now they have developed a plan for us. We'll be implementing the plan. And so we'll have an implementation phase for this plan as well. So that will be staff implementing these goals.
Okay.
And we will come back to you to keep you in the loop on this.
We can make this a regular part of the agenda, then go over one of these
Yeah.
each meeting.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Keep in mind, you're doing this over the next 2-3 years.
Yes.
Yeah. So you may take one, you may do one, you might decide to do one a year.
Will this be incorporated into our action plan there, our 5-year action plan?
Yes.
We submit to HUD?
Yes.
So this will be
This
incorporated?
will be incorporated.
Okay, very good, very good.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much, and
Thank
appreciate the energy. Again, this is the second Spartanville group. I know y'all are working with the Greater Virginia Peninsula Housing Authority, so I appreciate what you're doing there with housing. It's been exciting to work with y'all under 2 different occasions. Very professional, and thank you for your efforts. And for the commissioners, thank you for your time. I know it was a sacrifice to take that time aside, but I really appreciate that y'all were there.
Thank you.
Thank you, thanks.
Can I get a motion?
I make a
Well, I
motion.
need a resolution somewhere. I need to read it.
Resolution 2022.
Resolution 2235, resolution adopting the Portsmouth Development and Housing 2022 strategic plan. So I need a motion.
I make a motion.
Thank you. Thank you. Please.
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
Commissioner Pickens,
Yes.
Commissioner Wake,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes.
Repeat the question. This is resolution 2022-35 that we're adopting the resolution for the strategic plan.
Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Did I say Commissioner Pickens?
Yes, you did.
Vice Chair Jenkins,
Yes.
Chair Lamont.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And again, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, and we will work with the staff now to make sure that we're implementing the plan and that they're all set to make it active. So thank you and have a great rest of your meeting.
Thank you.
As far as remarks go, I've got half a dozen here. It's been a busy month. I know Mr. Bland and I have met with the vice mayor, came over to visit us a couple of a week ago. It was a very confusing conversation with me. Challenged us that we needed to do more homework on that property that got voted down on Effingham Street. He was under the impression that again, maybe I'm using those words, but felt that we needed to do our homework a bit more, right? And so we went back and asked, well, what was he looking for? And he had thought that there was going to be a manufacturing facility put there. We never had a manufacturing company come to us. For 4 years, we've been trying to find somebody, and we found this, the storage unit. So we made the recommendation to them that, because I asked him, I said, well, if you have a facility, if you have a manufacturing facility, any idea who it is? He said, no. And I said, well, do you have anybody we can talk to? And he said, no. And I said, well, it makes it very difficult for us to go out and find alternative folks when we don't have a lead from it. And I know Philip and the staff, I know did over years try to find somebody to take that property. So we challenged the vice mayor and said, well, why don't we just sell it to you? Sell it to the city, and that way we can be done with it. We're in the housing business, all right? We're trying to be in the development business, and he said he would take it back to the staff, to the council. Met with Councilman Woodard, who said he thought that we were in discussions with the city to move City Hall there to that property. I thought, well, that's another unusual comment that I got from another council person. And I said, well, I don't remember that discussion, so I talked about it with Mr. Blaine. He doesn't remember that discussion either.
Well, the whole idea was they don't want people on the property,
So,
considering that there are people on the property.
so again, as I was trying to say, it was very confusing discussions that I had with them. So again, we made the offer that to eliminate that confusion, get us out of the development business, put us in the housing business, and if the city would like to buy that, if the city could buy that property from us, I would like to. Also, I reminded Vice Mayor Barnes that we've had two, and again, I know we've been very good stewards, and I just want to say thank you for the support that y'all have given us. But we've been very good stewards of trying to money in our properties. And if you remember, some of y'all were here a couple of years ago, we had the economic development director come in, Mr. Robert Moore, and asked us to transfer the garage over there where the Holiday Inn was at, to transfer that to the city. And we had a handshake agreement that they would reimburse us for our costs that we had. We had over a couple $1 million that we had invested in that property. And we had a handshake agreement that they would reimburse us for those costs. Well, today they have not. So I reminded them of that. Secondarily, there was the cameras that had been put in. We had a handshake agreement also that they were reimbursed for those costs, and we have not been reimbursed for those costs. It's also come to light, and we're gonna bring it up with the city manager, that there's a small, family shelter that's outside of Dale. All right, it's just a couple of unit one, and we were asked, last year and a half ago, to transfer that to the city, and we did. But, they've never transferred the utilities. All right, we send bills to them, and they do get paid, but they haven't taken, the bills are still coming in our name. So I asked the vice mayor if they could just, I'm getting a little leery of us doing what they asked us to do, and then I'm not following through on what they do. So I'm just a little hesitant about giving things to the city anymore. We had a meeting with the Portsmouth Partnership. We had 2 meetings with the Portsmouth Partnership, so good meetings. Those are the business leaders in the city. Again, I talked to them about the housing that the senior housing that we want to put on there. I just want to put kudos out to the maintenance staff. If you take a look at the significant activities report, I don't know how they're keeping up. We're down 6 people in maintenance, and they're taking care of about 98% of the work tickets that they have. I don't know how they're doing it. I mean, they're obviously just working night and day to get that done. So I just want to say thank you to them very much. And then just the last one, I still have big concerns that the resident advisory board is not needed. If there's any way you can put a plug in there, we really need their input on what the residents want to do. So with that, Mr. Bland and I are meeting with the city manager, the new city manager next week to again go over the number one issue is the 1954 agreement that we have with the city. It has not changed our relationship, our contractual relationship with the city. This will be the third or fourth city manager now that we've had these discussions with, right? And it's just hard to operate. We have an agreement that's so dated. Oh, the ribbon cutting, yeah. We had a great ribbon cutting last week at the properties, the Holly Point properties there at 622 Effingham. A lot of folks there, a lot of moving parts there. And again, I just want to say thank you for the staff, Philip, Ed, for bringing that in, and our opportunity to bring that to the table there. I know our previous chair and the commissioners there had a lot to do with that 50 unit. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful facility. They've got 10 retail spaces that are downstairs. I guess they got 2 that are already contracted out. I know Commissioner Wicks and Commissioner Prince were able to attend, but a lot of the politicians took a lot of credit for that. Right, so sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So I appreciate that. But again, it was good that the Portsmouth Developed Housing Authority was able to add 50 more families to the city.
They were
great. Okay. I don't see either Councilman Bell or Vice Chair Barnes here for the. Yeah, I don't see either one of our liaisons here who talk about issues that we have that we'd like to discuss with them. And of course, with that, we'll move on to the committee remarks. Let me do mine last here. Let's go to the housing committee first. I'm sorry, look, governance. We've got next month is our annual meeting. We're going to go over the nominations of those who want to be nominated for chair and vice chair. Also, I want to relook the committees that people are on. If y'all have a desire, we've got a governance committee. Of course, all these committees are listed here. If you have one that you'd like to change to or stay on, I'd really appreciate y'all's input on that. I've asked Mr. Bland to look at creating an ad hoc committee for safety or security. I think we need to have a separate. I think we need to have focus on that. I'd like Mr. Bland to head it up, but I'd like a couple of commissioners to get on it. And this is one where I'd like to have formal meetings with the police chief, the sheriff, any of those stakeholders that are involved in our housing, so that we have a regular commissioner level briefing on what we're doing on safety and security. While we're all involved in it, let's formalize it. But I'd like to make that recommendation for a separate committee. Housing.
Before we get to housing, on your September meeting, Chair, could you make sure you put an actual bullet under the governance committee for the adoption of the bylaws?
That's right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Forgot. Thank you.
Housing, I'm going to ask Directors Thomas and Directors Jenkins to do it unless, Commissioner Weeks wants to do
What, read the update for?
Yes, ma'am.
it. Yeah, you
Sure.
want to do it?
Absolutely. One second.
That's pictures of your grandkids and.
Okay. All right, the update for, the month of August for the housing committee. Every 12 to 18 months, oh, wait a minute, that's not the update, 1 second.
I wanted to come back to it.
Okay,
Sean, anything for him? We either you or something?
No, we made ours last one.
Okay, sir, thank you. And development,
Okay,
yes, sir.
I do have something. In regards to the contract, which we will discuss later, I would like to, discuss that as well. There are some places where, it says, the authority, and I think that needs to say the Board of Commissions, because that's the answering party, not the specific.
Okay, sir.
So I think we need to discuss that.
Okay, sir, thank you. Development? Tina, you up?
Here for the August, board meeting summary. For Lincoln Seniors, the city council approved the necessary use, permit for the July 12th meeting. And we're preparing the tax credit application, which will primarily fund the project. We also received a commitment from the, Department of Housing and Community Development that Lexington seniors will receive $900,000 in National Trust Fund money. Also, for our community development programs, we just completed 5 of the 16 home repair projects, and at the last project should be completed about early September. We are also awaiting confirmation of funding from the city of Portsmouth for another round of funding to start at least 7 more projects. We also approved 1 application for Westbury Paint Program and expect the project to be completed in September. For the current board agenda, we have 2 easements for communication towers. We have 2 sets of properties to acquire and 3 parcels of land for disposition. The rest is some resolutions that we need to go over.
Phil, do you have anything that you want to add other than that? That's it. Okay, so thank you. All right, do you want to go back to radio?
yes, the housing department is continuing to assist the residents with their delinquent rental accounts through the Virginia Rental Relief Program, RRP, Gov2Go, and payments are being received on the residents' behalf. Also, Ms. Carol Thomas, okay, that's it. That's the end of the report.
I can't do the other stuff.
Yeah.
This email is being sent to you as members of the Housing Committee to update you on current activities. The Housing Choice Voucher Program is continuing to work with our mainstream and emergency housing voucher holders and their search for housing. Portsmouth Department of Social Services has provided us with additional referrals for families that may be eligible for the Family Unification Program, and we will be contacting these families to determine eligibility. We are continuing to update household and income information for voucher issuance to the Swanson residents that have chosen to receive a tenant protection voucher for relocation. We are continuing to process updates and purchase waivers.
Any questions? How many residents do we still have on the phone?
Approximately 140.
140?
Yes.
And if you had a best case scenario, when is it going to be vacant?
Early, I'm thinking spring next year.
Okay, okay. All right. That's, yeah, with the housing market the way it is, that's a lightweight.
Are most of them waiting for vouchers? I mean, were they looking?
They're
Yeah,
looking.
vouchers.
Oh, yeah, they have.
Okay.
What is the search time for the families? Are they completing in 90 days and trying to locate houses?
We're starting with 60, but we're giving them extensions as needed. So, we're starting at 60, and we're giving them additional 60 to search if they have.
That's good. It's hard.
It is,
I've seen them as much as a year.
yeah, well, and we've got some plans too.
So they can keep getting extensions until they,
As long as they are actively seeking housing and they provide us with documentation that they are seeking housing and have not been successful. Yes.
As far as finance goes, we have, Mr. Reyes is fully on board now. As one would expect, the transition, not having a CFO there for a couple months and the previous CFO kind of being diverted her attention being diverted for a while. We're behind on the financials. I'm very concerned that we don't have it. Mr. Reyes is assuring me that in the next 2 or 3 weeks, he's going to have financial source. I'm going to talk to Mr. Bland, and I'm going to kind of give a heads up to the commissioners here, not necessarily a closed session, but I would like to have a special session on the finances. I think we need to have time to go with the finances. The CFO is comfortable that all the money's accounted for. We're sitting right now at approximately $9 million in our cash account. $7.5 million of it is restricted, and we have $1.5 million is unrestricted. There's no overdue bills, and you've seen the accounts receivable. We have some delinquencies, but there's not a lot of delinquencies. But I want to raise the concern as commissioners. We have 2 responsibilities. One, we're getting ready to go into closed session and talk about the executive director, and the second one is about the financials. We have not seen financials in probably 6 or 7 months. There's been no bank reconciliations done since December of 2021. Can't get the finances done until you get the bank accounts reconciled. Right? Again, the new CFO is hired, a new assistant financial manager, and then another financial person, and we hired a fee person to come in. So we've added 3 new people to the team to get us behind. We've got the auditors coming aboard next week, so it just doesn't stop. But I would just, I don't have a date or time to give you, but as soon as the CFO gives us the green light and have the financials ready, I'm going to be calling them probably on short notice, say that we need to definitely look at the finances and tear it apart. I'm not vouching for anything other than we need to look at the finances. Mr. Reyes, did you have anything else?
You covered everything.
Okay, sir.
Just about some potential dates for our special meeting.
Okay, sir. Okay. Well, do you have anything you want to say about the finances?
We're cash out. We just got to catch up on booking everything.
And just as an aside from that, I mentioned to the vice mayor that we are flush with cash. I'd like to go out and buy some properties to develop housing for it. I need his support to say yes, that it's okay for us to build a house. Those of y'all that were there at the council meeting, of course, we lost the one on development, got that. We really got a question about Lexington and the senior housing at Lexington. And we thought we made it very clear that it was going to be senior housing. But one of the council people asked, well, where the playground's going to be? Where's the playground, swing set is going to be for that housing? So it confused me a little bit about the question that was asked. And Mr. Blaine had to get up to remind the council that it was senior housing that we're putting in, the library's going in, our computer room's going in, you know, and some other facilities are going into the senior housing. So I just get a little confused sometimes, right? Because this was about the 3rd or 4th time we've taken Lexington Place to council.
It will have the liaison.
Yeah, we help.
This is weighing in on that, because I was looking at that meeting. And I want to say, to, record development, we filled in a lot of the gaps at that council meeting, so I'm really not sure, why there were any questions, because I'm sitting on YouTube looking at it as soon as happening. You are very clear that this was senior housing, the second shades. So I thought you all did a good job. Did a very good job of him.
Frank, Mr. Bland, you're up.
The only thing I want to add, have a meeting coming up with the city manager in the next 5 minutes, 9:30 in the morning. I asked the chair to be ready, and I think that can be next week. This will go through issues, reference to, the direction the city wanted us to be involved in going forward in the future. And so after that meeting, I can probably bring something back to full board, as to what we discussed today, that should be fine. Beyond that, we feel that we reach out to our residents. We have good dialogue with our residents, make sure that we meet their concerns, benefits, things like that. We're trying to make sure also that we're engaging with the various agencies within the city to make sure our residents are being served just like we serve the non-residents in the community. And I had a meeting with council body the last Friday. Took around to what we want to try to do over around Lexington and Hale, and took them over to Washington Park and showed all the there. And last, I took our new commissioner on a tour of our various properties.
How was it received from,
On the council. He said that he would support what we want to do in the future. So, told him what I'm going to try to do is we're going to try to set a regular time for a monthly meeting once a month. These projects, he did say to me that he would be there to support the housing authority on future ventures for the housing for the city.
Can I ask a question? Commissioner Cox, talk to me again, because it was kind of low. The tax credits that you referenced, they're going to be for what? For Lexington, okay, that's what I thought, but I didn't know. Thank you.
Sorry, Right, and who do you have up for speak on the resolution, sir? Towers and the concepts? All of Philip or just the council?
These two, the Tarpon Towers.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Good evening, Commissioners. Resolution 2022-36 is a resolution asking for approval to enter into an easement agreement. We currently have an easement on our property at 1729 Columbus Avenue. That's more commonly referred to as the maintenance compound. There's a 50-foot by 50-foot section of that land where there's a communications tower. And again, there is an easement already on that property. What we're asking for is approval to enter into another easement agreement that will basically replace that, give the housing authority a lump sum payout for that 50-year period up front. And that is with Tarpon Towers.
And this is the one you briefed us last month?
Yes.
Yes, sir. So all you can just bring it forward. Once you second one, once you do both of them, then we'll get you out and then we'll vote on both of them.
Okay. So sure, resolution 2022-37 similarly is an easement agreement. It is also for a 50-year time period. It is for the property at 3910 Victory Boulevard.
I'm sorry, can you speak a little bit louder?
I'm sorry, 3910 Victory Boulevard. That's the Victory Crossing Shopping Center. It's actually that back parcel near the Wendy's. It's really kind of back out of the way. But there's also a communications tower there. Again, it has an easement in place, and we're receiving some, proceeds for that. This new easement for the 50-year time period would again give us a lump sum payout for that in the amount of $312,500.
So as we said, Phil briefly spoke of us in closed session last time. He was just bringing forward what we'd asked him to do, and now this is the formal ask, so.
I'd like to make
Yes, sir.
a motion for resolution 2022-36 and 2022-37.
I need a second on both of them.
Second.
Okay, good, that's right. So let's go with the first one. Resolution 2022-36, resolution authorizing the execution of first agreement between PRHA and Parkland Towers and is assigned for 1729 Columbus Avenue. Please.
Commissioner Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Pickens,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Witt,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jenkins,
No.
Chair Lumami.
Yes. Resolution 2022-37, resolution authorizing the execution of a purchase agreement between PRHA and Tarpon Towers for 3910 Victory Boulevard. Please.
Commissioner Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Pickens,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Witt,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jenkins,
Yes.
Chair Lumami.
Yes. You've got the other four resolutions there. Is that Dolores? Dolores?
Good evening, everyone. The next four resolutions are for the same solicitation. So, Chair, if it's okay if we take them all together.
I think that was you.
Yeah, take one.
Okay. Okay. We issued a request for proposals 2022-03 for environmental services, back in February. And it was to select firms to provide environmental services for our housing and developments, community centers, administrative office, and other sites located within the city of Portsmouth, Virginia. Services include but are not limited to phase 1 and 2 environmental site assessments, indoor air quality evaluations to include mold and lead, oversight of remediation, underground storage tank investigations, and management of projects. So the authority currently does not have a contract for these services. This is an indefinite quantity contract, and it will be for a period of 1 year with an option to renew for up to 4 additional years at PRHA's sole discretion. We received 7 proposals after issuing this RFP. We advertised it back in February on EVA, which is the state electronic procurement website, and on the PRHA website. Over 1,900 firms received solicitation notification due to EVA and other means. And we had the 7 that actually sent their proposals in by March 17th when it closed via EVA. Proposals were received from Atlas Technical Consultants, Atmos Solutions, ECS Mid-Atlantic, Stokes Environmental Associates, EA Engineering Science and Technology, First Atlantic Restoration, and Stearns Conrad and Schmidt Consulting Engineers. The final 3 did not make our competitive range based on their scoring for the technical aspects. The first 4, Atlas Technical, Atmos Solutions, ECS Mid-Atlantic, and Stokes Environmental did make our technical, did make the technical range, and they were actually selected as the most qualified firms to provide environmental services. Our evaluation committee for this was our Deputy Executive Director, our Director of Development, and the Director of Asset Management, because those are the departments that use these services the most. And we use our technical factors were based on experience of the firm, staffing, the methodology of work plan, Section 3, and WBE and MBE status. And to make the competitive range, a firm had to score a minimum of 53 out of 80. And so we do not consider price for anyone that do not meet the competitive range. And so We, those four made the competitive range, and their pricing was in line with what our cost estimate was. All the firms had extensive previous experience in this area. Atlas Technical Consultant had, Housing Authority experience with the Owensville, Kentucky Housing Authority, the City of Pittsburgh Housing Authority, and military experience. They did work out at Little Creek. Atmos Solution, which is a small and minority company, did work for the Coast Guard Training Center, the Maryland National Guard, and Turner Construction, which is a local construction firm. ECS Mid-Atlantic did work for Colonial Heights Public Schools, the Williamsburg, James City County Public Schools, the Norfolk Airport, and a local architecture firm via design. And lastly, Stokes Environmental has done extensive work for us here at PRHA, the City of Suffolk, Virginia Beach Public Schools, and Norfolk Public Schools, and also the City of Portsmouth, because we are currently riding the City of Portsmouth's contract. So based on the selection criteria established by the procurement department and the recommendations from our evaluation committee and the references that we received, it's recommended that the authority enter into a contract with Atlas Technical Consultants, LLC, Atmos Solutions Incorporated, ECS Mid-Atlantic LLC, and Stokes Environmental Associates, LLC, for the provision of environmental services for a term of 1 year, with the option to renew annually for 4 years.
I have two. Just to clarify, we do multiple accounts so that we always have someone on.
Yes, we do.
And secondly, with or without the approval, the renewal for 4 years is a part of the potential approval.
I'm not sure I
If we
understand the
approve
question.
this, you said for a year, but can be renewed for 4 years, but that's automatic with our approval if that's.
Right, and is then we determine, through Mr. Blaine, he has the right to decide whether or not to approve it.
Of the four that you discussed, only one of them is a minority, designated as a minority firm?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry,
There was, the minority firm, small minority firm was Atmos Solutions. They're out of Washington, D.C.
Just to divert, and I'm sorry to divert. Philip, when you gave the briefing to city council, you gave them a number of how many minority contracts, percentage of minority contracts this organization. And what's the minority? What's the percentage of our character? Well, what's the number of minority, just on an overall?
I can't remember what it was, but if we were doing it, I could pull the email out and I can.
Can you send the?
I can bring it back to you. But it was a healthy number.
It was higher than I thought.
It was a healthy number.
I
And we had,
appreciate y'all doing those statistics, because I think that's something we would like to have in our back pocket, on our firms.
yes, because it's a special interest of city council, so we make sure to keep that up. Yes, but I will send the email, that I sent to share it with Philip so that he will have it.
We're gonna have to vote on these separately, but let's go and take the motion overall. So I need a motion for.
I'm gonna do a motion for, although we'll vote separately, a motion for resolution 2022 37, 38, 39. No, I'm sorry, 38, 39, 40, 41 to be approved.
Second, yeah, thanks, Keith. All right. Any other discussions at all? Loris, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It's good that, I like IDIQ contracts, and it gives you a lot of flexibility. So resolution 2022-38, resolution authorizing the execution of a contract for environmental services between Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority and Atlas Technical Consultants. Release.
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Higgins,
Yes.
Commissioner Wick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jenkins,
I'm gonna abstain.
Chair Galani.
Yes. If there's an abstention, I thought we had to explain why you're saying that.
But I don't see those in my. Then, change my sentence to, yes.
All right, 2239, resolution authorizing the execution for environmental services reports of redevelopment housing authority and Atmos Solutions. And this was the one that was the minority firm? Lawrence?
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
thank you, John. Delise?
Commissioner Cobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Pickens,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Diggins,
Yes.
Chair Lombardi.
Yes. Resolution 2022-40, resolution authorizing the execution of the contract for environmental service enforcement redevelopment housing authority and ECS Mid-Atlantic.
Commissioner Cobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Pickens,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Diggins,
Yes.
Chair Lombardi.
Yes, thank you. And the last one, 2022-41, resolution authorizing the execution of contract for environmental services reinforcement redevelopment housing authority and Stokes Environmental Associates.
Commissioner Cobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Pickens,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Diggins,
Yes.
Chair Lombardi.
Yes, thank you. All right, anything else there?
The department updates on tab 8, that's part of the board package. Any questions reference to, on tab 8, the solution activity reports? Commission on that. But not if you want to revisit it and have a question, just give it a call.
Yeah, I just want to go to page 2, at the very bottom. Work report is generated and completed for the month of July. Again, it's phenomenal. They received about 500-600 work requests from the maintenance department. And they're getting here to about 35 on 40 of them. I just think it's excellent what they're doing.
What did you say that was?
Page, significant activity report, page 2 at the very bottom.
Page 2.
Tab 8, page 2, but I'm just very impressed with the maintenance folks, about what they do. Anything else? All right, sir. Public speakers are allowed 5 minutes to speak, and I don't see any, and it's a shame we don't have anybody here from Hamilton. This is a great place. It's a great place. It's sadly, one of our most outspoken residents, Miss Britt, passed away about a year and a half ago, and she was very concerned and very supportive of the folks here in Hamilton, so we sure it's us and thank you us. All right, resolution 2022-42, going to closed session. Whereas the Freedom of Information Act provides the Board of Commissioners can meet in a closed meeting for discussion of the acquisition and disposition of publicly held property, where discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of public body set forth 2.23711 of the Code of Virginia is amended. The matters for discussion are the disposition and acquisition of property located in Churchland, Lincoln Park, and Prentice Park. And I thought we were talking about personnel matter also.
Yes.
That's paragraph.
Okay, thank you. There I go, just read the directions. Whereas the Virginia Freedom of Information Act provides the Board of Commissioners coming into closed session for personnel matters, and the personnel matter can be determined of the director's executive contract as a personnel matter. Therefore, be resolved in compliance with Virginia Freedom of Information Act and the above referenced section of the Virginia Code, the Board of Commissioners shall reconvene in a closed meeting on August 18th for discussion and disposition of publicly held property and for a personnel matter. Can I need a vote?
I make a motion to go into closed session.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Pickens,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Diggins,
Yes.
Chair Lombardi.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we're in closed session.